So the first card you have your past is the Five of Pentacles. So I'm seeing a situation here. Obviously it wasn't a happy situation, but I don't think it was dramatic as what's on this card, and I think it might be tied in with a few other things as well. I'll try and explain. Hopefully I can explain what I'm seeing. I think someone might have had the wrong impression of you for some reason, and maybe this was around the workplace, I think. And I think before this incident actually happened, you probably felt some kind of negative feeling, some kind of negative vibe or whatever around this person. So you knew they had some kind of negative idea about you or something. It was well before whatever this thing happened. Now, I don't actually think you've done anything. I think there were some mix-ups or something. I think they just had some idea in their head that they couldn't trust you, and then they went with that. And I think everything you did and said kind of added up to the evidence in their head or something like that. I actually don't think this was anyone's fault at all. I think it was a series of maybe a series of mistakes or something. I think this was something about the actual incident was something about getting numbers wrong. Maybe you accidentally mixed up some dates, or maybe it was a phone number. It's something to do with getting numbers wrong. But maybe, I think because they had these feelings toward you and this idea about you, I think that might have been making you feel quite nervous around this person as well. And so then everything's a lot more awkward, and then you might say more awkward things, and then they say, well, see, they can't be trusted, or they look at you funny, or, so it kind of makes it all awkward. Now, if this is all resonating, I don't think there's anything you can really do about this. There's nothing you can really say. I think anything you do say is just going to sound like an excuse to them or more evidence for them. And, you don't have to justify yourself to them anyway. I don't think they're in authority. I don't think there's anything like that. They're not a boss. I'm not seeing that. I'm actually seeing they're probably your equal. So, excuse me, just try to be business-like, civil and polite, and then kind of avoid them as much as you can. Don't kind of really bother with them, because I don't think there's anything you can do. So the next card you have your past is the Queen of Swords. So this is the same situation again, I think. You're not used to people seeing you like this. You're a friendly person, you're easygoing, you probably tried to talk to them a few times and tried to kind of lighten things up and say things, because, you didn't want an atmosphere, and that's understandable. But they weren't having any of that. They just had their sword up like this queen. So again, stop trying if that's what you're doing. If you're still trying, stop trying. Do you want to be friends with someone who's unforgiving and rigid and difficult and all of that? No, you don't. Well, I wouldn't want to be. So, again, be polite, be businesslike. Just try not to let this affect you. Try to move on as much as you possibly can. One thing I'm seeing here is that I don't want you to think I'm telling you off. I'm not. But I am seeing that you do give off some mixed messages to people sometimes. You're not as clear as you should be in your communication. And I think sometimes people aren't sure quite what you mean or what your decision is, or there's a lot of uncertainty about the way you communicate sometimes. I think in this situation, I'm not seeing anyone being at fault at all, but I think generally maybe your communication might be, it might be something you might need to work on, specifically being 100% clear on, what's going to happen and when and times and things. I think you can create confusion sometimes, so just be mindful of that. If that resonates with you. I don't mean for this to sound like a work appraisal. I really don't, I'm sorry. So the last card you have your past is the Knight of Cups. So this is really positive actually. I'm seeing some positivity in this card. Especially when it comes to love, there's some love positivity here. I think there's also a bit of hesitation here, because that's what happens in this card. But I do think someone really loves you. They're a little bit unsure of some things, but I don't think that's anything to do with you. I think it might have a little bit, it might have something to do with communication, but because I'm just getting this feeling that your partner or this love connection or whoever feels as if they need a little bit more from you. I don't think it's love. I think they might need some kind of gesture or something concrete. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I know that sounds a bit confusing. Because I'm also seeing family around this. So maybe there's some family pressure around them to make this relationship official. That might be what it is. Or it might be that this family might want you to go along with tradition. It's something like that. And I don't want to go against anyone's traditions. That's completely, everyone has a right to, believe and do whatever they want. But I think some of this tradition might be partly for show. Because if you look at this knight, he's beautifully dressed and everything's beautifully decorated. And it looks as if he could be in some kind of procession, maybe even a wedding procession or something like that. So I'm not sure whether your partner 100% agrees that you should do whatever this traditional thing is, but a part of them I think does want that as well, because they were brought up in that. So I think a part of them would kind of like to see that, but then the other part of them is like, no, I'm myself, I'm not really a part of that. So it's kind of, I don't know if they come from a different background or a different country or some kind of different tradition to you. It's something like that. And I am getting the feeling that they are caught in between two kind of traditions. It's like they want to keep their family happy, but they also want to be themselves, and they also don't want to force you into anything either. So there's all of that kind of thing going on there. And there is love here, there really is. So I think some kind of compromise could probably be made eventually. I think it does need to be talked about, because I'm not seeing this family pressure going away on its own. I think there's going to have to be some kind of discussion about this. That's what I'm seeing in that card. I hope that makes sense. I know that was specific. So the first card you have here present is Justice. Yeah, so again, this can be the marriage card. So maybe it is, maybe this is about pressure to get married, or it might be about pressure to be married in a certain way. It might be in pressure to get married in a church, or it might be pressure to get married under a certain tradition, some certain way. And also this card is about opposing sides. So I think your partner, whoever this is, does see their family as one side, and you and them as a couple or something, whatever else, as the other side. So traditions on one side and whatever else is on the other side. And I'm not seeing any big arguments here, but again, this is about two different kinds of outlooks, one on each side. So yeah, there's that again. I'm just seeing that. So that's going to have to be resolved in some way, because justice is all about bringing things to justice, when the judge concludes something. So there has to be some talks on both sides and some conclusion at some time. So the other thing I'm seeing here is that there might also be some, not opposition, but some awkwardness maybe, and this might actually be coming from your side of the family. Again, I don't think they're opposing this relationship, they're not against it, but there is a little bit of awkwardness coming from them. There's some kind of uneasy feelings. I don't know, I think this might actually have something to do with an ex. Maybe your family is still friendly with this ex, or they might miss them, or they might miss the way things used to be when you were together, or it might be that they're missing the way they're imagining things used to be, because sometimes people have rose-colored glasses when they think about the past. So obviously if this is an ex, things weren't perfect because you're not together. Otherwise, you'd still be together if it was perfect. But, I do think some people in your family might have an idealized view or version of not just your relationship, but that time, when you were with them, I think there was probably more family harmony around that time. Maybe it was a kind of a simpler time. But whatever happened in the past and all of that is separate from your relationship now, of course. I just think they're seeing this sort of special time that they'd like to see back again. And it's not going to come back again. You can't go back to the past. So they're just going to have to adjust to this. There's a lot of adjusting that has to do around families in this reading everywhere here. So a lot of kind of getting used to what the normal is and adjusting to that. So the next card you have your present is the Hanged Man. So again, if you are with this person, if this is a relationship that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing it everywhere, so I'm sorry, single people, I'm just seeing this relationship situation. This is showing me that you are going to grow together with this person. I'm seeing that everywhere here. So if you're in the middle of all these problems and all this pressure and all this kind of thing, just hang in there, because whatever happens, I can see that you're both strong people. I can see you've been through a lot to get to where you are now. So just try to relax as much as you can around this. And, I'm looking at this tree, and it's shaped in the letter T. Or it's in the shape of a letter T, I should say. So the letter T can symbolize a lot of things. It can symbolize strength, being in the middle, negotiating, helping people. So I think you're going to have to sort of be the middleman in this, if that makes sense. You'll be the one trying to get everyone to a place where things are more settled. So you're kind of at the center of all of this. So, if this is resonating with you, definitely ask for help. Don't do everything yourself. Don't, especially when it comes to your partner's family, they should definitely be the main person who deals with their own family. But I think a lot of people are going to be looking up to you for direction. I think you're the natural person to take charge in all of this. That's what I'm seeing. So, don't stress, because this is going to work out for you as a couple, I'm seeing, in the end. But again, both families are going to need to be helped through this, guided through this. So the last card you have your present is the Six of Cups. Yes, here we are. Here's this idealistic time. There's a lot of family in this whole reading. This is a lot of family. This is this beautiful, magical, so-called magical time that these people in your family are remembering. It's sort of like a golden age with golden cups and springtime and flowers and picnics and everything was fine. That's a fairy tale, and it's all in the past. What happened is you walked away from that. And I think what happened was you walked away from this ex or whatever, you separated or whatever. And I think when you walked away from pretending everything was fine, that you had this big facade going and everything was wonderful. So I think in the end, you just had to do what was right for you. And I think your family, probably your parents, and I think especially one parent, would have liked for you to have stayed with this ex, because on the outside everything looked like this card, all perfect, and flowers and roses, and not roses, but flowers and innocence and sunshine and all of that. But that's the outside. They didn't live your life on what was going on inside yourself. They couldn't see what all of this felt like for you. And obviously things were not right for you because you're not with that person. And I think your peace of mind and your feelings were more important than how things looked to other people. And that's why you didn't keep up with this. So you definitely made the right decision, and that. I don't need to tell you that. But they're going to have to be convinced a little bit of that, and that's all part of this adjustment. So the first card you have for your future is the Five of Wands. Right. This is a big mess. This is the messy card. The messy card. I think this is about this work situation, and I don't think this person's going to do anything to you directly. They're not going to sabotage you. They're not going to chase you around with a stapler and staple your clothes together or whatever. I'm being silly, I'm sorry. So yeah, they're not going to harm you directly. They're not going to make problems for you directly. But you should still be a little bit careful with this person, because I think they might be watching you very, very closely, kind of watching, waiting for you to do something wrong. And I'm not saying this to make you paranoid. You probably already know this anyway. I actually don't think they'll find anything. I mean, nobody's perfect, of course, but I think anything they'd find to blame you for wouldn't be enough to get you into trouble. So, just be a little bit careful around them. Do things like, if they send you an email, for example, just be very careful of how you reply to them. Don't reply quickly without thinking, because they might use little things you say against you or whatever. Just think about what you're saying, just to cover yourself. But again, I'm not seeing anything they could accuse you of, and I'm actually not seeing anything negative coming out of this for you either. I don't think they're going to have you fired. I don't think they have any grounds to do that. I don't think they have any ways to get you into trouble, really. But yeah, be aware of this, but don't stress about this either. If they want to spend their time watching you, let them. That's fun. Let them do that. Put on a show. Do a kind of wave around at them every time they stare at you. Go, hey, how are you? I'm silly, I know. Just, you've got more important things to get on with than worry about this person. So the next card you have for your future is the Hierophant. So yeah, again, here it is again. It's coming up again. So this is a huge thing. I know this is specific as well, so if this isn't for you, I'm sorry. This is for someone who has to hear this. Again, in this card this is tradition, this is authority. Now, I don't know if you're planning to spend any time with your partner's family. You might get an invitation from them soon if you haven't already. And I'm seeing traveling here as well, so it might be that they have to travel to be able to spend time with you or your partner or both, and maybe they're physically away from you. They might be in a different country even, it might be that. And I think when you get together, this is probably when they'll start opening up this discussion. And if you're kind of anticipating this, if you know that this is coming up and you're going to have dinner with them or spend time with them or whatever and have this big talk, I can see why you're nervous if you are feeling like that. Because yeah, I constantly keep on seeing tradition and these two sides and rigidity and all of that kind of thing. And there are two pillars on this card as well. So I'm seeing these two sides on here as well. So yeah, they are going to be pretty hard line, I think, about their beliefs. I don't think they dislike you. I actually think they do like you. But I think you are probably going to have to sit and listen to a lot of things. You might even feel as if you're being lectured to for a while. You might have to sit and nod and smile a lot. And, you might have to be careful not to tread on any toes. But I think as you kind of become more familiar with them, you'll become more relaxed with them. And I think then you'll be able to have better talks about all of the situation. You're going to have more talks in the future, but don't worry about that. It's okay. These aren't the most relaxing talks in the world, but they're going to be okay. They do like you. That's what I'm seeing. So the last card you have for your future is the Emperor. Again, rigidity and authority and all of that kind of thing. I keep seeing this again. Rules and all of that. So these people follow these rules, and their traditions are very, very important to them. Again, they're not bad people. They're not scary people. They're not tyrants. They're not, ready for battle like this Emperor in his, in his suit of armor. They're not like that. They're not going to come and battle you. So don't worry about that. I just feel as if I keep on needing to, if I need to keep on saying, I should say, don't worry too much about this. I think this is all just a matter of merging things together in a positive way. And I don't think that, I mean, they do have very rigid, very set traditions, but I don't think they're so rigid that they're going to force anyone. I think you'll find in time, when you get to know them, they're human and they're nice people, and I think they've been brought up a certain way, and that's absolutely fine. But I think they do like you, and I am seeing a kind of a more comforting ending to all this. I don't think the end's going to be a big fight or anything. I'm not seeing anything like that, so don't worry about that.